Hi, I'm Sidney Franklin here with That's My Entertainment and Jonathan, one of the stars from Van Helsing. So thank you for taking the time with me here.
Oh man, thanks so much.
Yeah, so we've already gone through season 1. We're starting on season 2. What was your favorite thing about season 1? I know there's a lot of stunts in there. Was there something in particular that you really enjoyed?
I really was starting to love right before I died, or seemingly died. The tone of where the show was landing, there was a sort of, it was shifting towards there was a more humorous element that was getting built into it, which I really kind of loved. My favorite episode, though, of that season was, as Neil was saying in the press room, was episode 11 that Simon Barry directed. It was such a kind of emotional high point or low point for the show because of the death of Susan and everything else. But there was this one moment in that episode where our heroes are hunkered around an old ham radio that they're trying to get to work, and they're listening to try and hear if there's anyone else out there in the world, and then they get a voice on the other end. And that moment for me I thought that was so fantastic, and that's exactly what gets explored in season 2. We break open our tiny little kind of micro bubble that we've been living in, and our group goes off in different directions, and we start to build out and explore this world that we're living in, and we find new characters, we find new vampires, new kinds of vampires. It's really exciting. So it just builds out the world exponentially.
That is really exciting. Now, one of the things that I can imagine is really difficult for an actor is almost living in a fantasy world and finding a reality in that. Did you find yourself having any problems with that, or do you find yourself figuring out the world while you're in it?
That's the fun part of it. I mean, you sort of like filling all of those holes with your imagination. I'd had an experience myself where I'd take it off with my wife and kids on a sailboat and went sailing for like 2.5 years, totally off the grid, hunting for our own food, making our own water, living off of solar energy, and teaching the kids about self-reliance and subsistence living and all these kinds of things. So there was a survivalist element to that journey, and I found myself filling a lot of those holes with just personal experience of jerry-rigging this out of this, and what are we going to need? How are we going to make do with what we have? So I kind of loved getting to bring that to it.
Yeah. So, here's Missy from season 2. Don't worry.
Oh, so sorry.
Oh no. Oh, you're great. You're great.
Sorry, guys.
It was just a white balance moment. They're just trying to get the white balance, just so.
What an idiot. I'm sorry.
That's why we wrote her out of season 1. I'm joking. I'm joking. If you could only see that look, right?
Yeah.
Oof. So, that kind of reminds me of like things that happen on set, behind stage, or behind screen. Mm-hmm. Is there any like fun story or like a relationship with an actor that we wouldn't necessarily see on screen?
The constant hijinks between Missy and Alex were the thing that just made me laugh the most, because he's this giant of a man, and he can be a very scary dude. And she's playing a super brooding, badass, prepared for the apocalypse ninja character. And the two of them were like 6-year-olds. So every single take, cut, and then they're playing slap hands or whatever they're doing, like constantly. So they were fun.
And you're over here in survivalist mode, trying to live.
Yeah.
On like the bare necessities.
Well, we start the season as a vampire, and a lot of being a vampire, especially a guy who's trying to fight his own vampirism and not feed, is a very skinny vampire. So it involves lots of not eating and being very grumpy. So I was just in the corner, like wishing I could eat a sandwich.
With a lot of blood.
Yeah, covered in blood.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
That's my entertainment. What's yours?